Yeah, guys, I want to remind everybody about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bet if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started.
All right, we're going to break down the Cavs Summer League roster later. Can't wait for that. But for now, let's talk about the Guardians sweeping the Astros. Who saw this coming?
Tyvis.
Tyvis, you saw this coming?
I definitely said it, didn't I?
Did you say it?
Listen, this is the thing.
Go ahead.
So yesterday, as the Guardians, as Angel Martinez hit his home run, and then Jose comes back and knocks another one out, I get a text message from nobody other than Anthony Cantaspelli.
Yeah.
And he says, your guy is the ultimate glue guy. Talking about Big Christmas.
Oh, he came back to the team and they started winning?
Yeah, now, he ain't hitting right now. But it's his
it
is his presence that everybody feels like, oh, if he here, then we all got the fact that we can hit. And now you see all these guys emerging and starting to hit the ball out the park, man. If I was them, how they treat Austin Hedges is how you need to treat Big Christmas.
You know, it's funny. Jay was spreading crazy propaganda last season about Austin Hedges. Basically he was saying they won last year because of Austin Hedges. Because they had won 2 years before, they didn't win the year after, and the Rangers won with him. It was a fraud then, it's even more fraudulent now. So according to you and Jay, we should just sign a bunch of scrubby players and put them on the team, they'll just win. Because let's just get 26 guys who are great leaders and locker room guys who can't play, and then the Guardians will win that way. Is that what we're going to do? Because Austin Hedges can't play. He's not a major leaguer. John Kenzie's not a major leaguer. But let's put them all in there, and we'll see how they do. I mean, John Kenzie might be a major leaguer. Austin Hedges is not. But for this year, he hasn't been a major leaguer.
First of all.
He's been terrible. So this idea that that the Guardians were winning last year because Austin Hedges is on the roster is patently absurd.
So I might as well say
absurd with John Kenzie.
I might as well say nothing about Miles Straw when he was on the roster.
Nothing. Don't say anything. Although the Blue Jays are winning now. Look at that.
I can support you with Big Christmas. I can't support you with Miles Straw.
What do you mean? Is the Blue Jays, did they turn it around? I know they lost to the White Sox yesterday, but did they not turn it around?
They're playing great.
Okay. Miles Straw playing, ain't he?
Occasionally.
Okay.
You back in?
I'm just saying.
I'm back in, boo.
Are you jumping back in?
Let's go with Miles Straw, Austin Hedges, John Kenzie, and win a ton of games. You're back in.
I'm back in.
3-game winning streak has turned it all around for you.
No, listen, Tyvis manifested it. He said that the Guardians are going to go on a 7-game winning streak. So the first half of it, the first part of it, complete. The hardest leg of this is complete. I mean, Jose Ramirez, what he hit? 3 home runs, bat 417, OPS over 1. I mean, like my man was balling. Angel Martinez, he balling. If those two dudes stay hitting, hey, the sky's the limit.
Angel Martinez is not going to stay hitting.
You put Big Christmas in that lineup.
Yeah.
And let him go ahead and knock one out the park.
Talk to him. It's a wrap.
It's bull.
It's over.
I bet by the time the All-Star break hit, you back in.
Yeah.
No, I'm not changing my opinion.
Yes, you are.
I'm excited.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Listen, this has been the year of you flip-flopping. So we not going to let you stop on this moment.
No, I'm not flip-flopping.
You going to jump back in.
I hope that the Guardians will prove me wrong that when I said they're finished.
Look at that line. Look at that schedule. Look at all them wins that's floating right there.
Yeah, well, all those teams are looking at the Guardians and saying the same thing. That's what they're saying. Now, the White Sox and A's are particularly bad, so they do have an opportunity to go on a roll, sure, and maybe they could change the mind of the front office. The wise move for the Guardians remains to still sell.
Oh, they're not going to be buyers at the deadline. They could go on a 20-game streak and they're not buying nobody at the deadline.
So,
I'll tell you that now.
we'll see. But listen, they played great these last 3 days. It was good to see. The bats come to life because they've been dead for pretty much the whole season. It's not a surprise that when Jose has a big series, they do well because he's obviously their best player. And he had a huge series. The frustrating part about all of this is that you see the way Slade Cecconi pitched last night. He had a shutout through 7, and he ended up giving up a couple of runs because he stayed in for the 8th and allowed a couple of base runners, and the runs came in after he left. But you see what they've done with this guy, a former first-round pick. He couldn't, to be fair to Arizona, he didn't pitch that much for them in the big leagues. But he couldn't seem to figure it out in Arizona, between AAA and the majors in the short time he was at that level with Arizona. And he comes to the Guardians, and after a rocky start, he was injured to start the season, and a little bit of a rocky start to start the season once he started pitching, he's been really good. I mean, he's averaging over a strikeout per inning now. I'd like to see the walks come down a little bit, but still, pretty good. And the ERA at 3.44 for, a rookie is spectacular. And he was great last night against the very good Astros lineup.
Where we get him from?
In the Josh Naylor deal.
Okay.
But the shame of it is,
well, at least
they had to get him. They traded their second best hitter, who they really need. And in the long run, it's great that they have Slade Cecconi, but they're so good at developing pitching. It's amazing how inept they are on the opposite end, and that they're in this position of being significantly under 500 and outside of the last 3 days playing pretty poor baseball because of their inability to develop hitters and letting them go. This Jeff Passan today said the Guardians might trade Stephen Kwan.
Oh, yeah, that's been the hot topic.
So...
Well, they can't,
It's not that they can't.
Well, they said they offered him a deal and he turned it down. So.
Well, first of all, we don't know if that's true.
That's what this is what the streets is saying.
Second of all,
I keep my ear to the streets.
Let me tell you something. Stephen Kwan should be, in theory, an easy guy for them to sign because Stephen Kwan is not going to get a huge contract because he doesn't hit for power. So nobody's paying him all these big contracts that like Juan Soto got last year and Ohtani.
So he's around the $14
Kyle
million a guy?
Tucker is going to get this offseason. He's not getting anywhere close to that.
Dang, he can't get 12.
Oh, $12 million a year?
Yeah.
Sure, he's getting more than that.
Oh, that's what I said. You said he ain't getting nowhere near $14 million.
No.
Oh, you saying those guys?
Those guys.
I got you.
Not that anybody thought. I'm just saying, like, his contract, like, maybe 5 years, $75 million. Maybe he gets a little more than that. Maybe he signs a longer deal.
What did they say?
You're not going to have to pay him some crazy amount of money. Maybe he gets $17 million a year. I don't know, but it's not going to be an insane amount of total money. I can't imagine Stephen Kwan is going to get a total contract any more than like $100 million at most. And so that is there's no reason they couldn't sign him. Now, do you want to pay a guy who doesn't hit home runs that much? I think that's a question mark. But the rest of his game is fantastic. He's a great base runner. He's a great fielder. He's got a great arm. He has great baseball instincts. He hits for average.
The only way I'm paying him
he's a great player. He just doesn't have any power.
The only way
doesn't have enough power.
The only way I'm paying him is if he says he wants to go to center field.
Well, I would do it even without that, but I do think they should move him to center field.
Why don't they?
I think they feel like, and part of it's probably he prefers left field. I think part of it is they feel like he's elite at left field and would just be good at center field and not elite. Because he's not as good a player defensively as some of the great center fielders. He's just not going to have that kind of elite range that some of these guys have.
Zach say common sense is move him to center, bring up C.J. Cafis and Chase DeLauder, put them in left and right, and you just move on with your day.
Right. Yeah, he and I have been talking about that.
I thought C.J. Cafis was a first baseman.
He is.
Yeah.
He's played a little in the outfield in the minors, but they're worried about his defense. They're not going to trade. They're not going to move Stephen Kwan in the middle of the season. That's something they do in the offseason.
I did go back to Cecconi. I go back to the Tiger series. All 3 games versus the Tigers, we had pretty decent pitching, but we couldn't put no runs on the board.
Yeah.
And so it felt good to see a starting pitcher have a quality outing and actually have run support. Like he pitched from ahead the entire night, and that does a lot for your confidence. But if the Guardians can somehow, some way, find a way to just continue to put runs on the board like they did in this Houston series, man, and you get complimentary pitching like we've had for the most part of the season, I don't know. They're not going to probably chase down a wild card spot, but they were exciting to watch.
Never. Four and a half out?
Anything can happen. To me, they were much more exciting to watch in this last series than they had been in the last 3 or 4 3 weeks.
They were hitting.
Yeah.
And so like if you could just like keep the fans engaged, keep us excited, then cool. So like
I think it take pressure off the pitcher. Like maybe Bybee and Gavin is always thinking to themselves, well, our offense ain't that good, so like now I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to throw these pitches.
Well, that happens in the NFL, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm sure the same thing happens in baseball.
But maybe for Slade, he was like, you know what? We up 2-0. All right, I could be more relaxed. You know, these guys is hitting well today, and you know he went out there, went relaxing, but was able to get some strikeouts and pitch a really good game. So. To me, it always comes back to the hitting. As long as they hitting, I mean, the pitch. I think the pitching it'll motivate the pitching. Like, all right, it's not just solely on me because I don't know how well Bybee and Gavin do right now with pressure.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense for a guy like Bybee to go out there and pitch 4 straight innings of a shutout and then fall apart and can't make it out the fifth. Like, that makes no sense.
Gavin his last outing when he up against Skubal, he was great.
Yeah.
You know, he had a tough 5th inning. He ended up getting out of that. But like if I'm him. It's like, man, damn, I can't pitch no better than what I'm pitching. And I can't get nothing. I get it, you going up against Skubal, but come on. Even in that game, you had opportunities to put some runs on the board and you didn't.
No. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, you want to be excited that they've hit 3 days in a row, and maybe that turns into something bigger. But at this point, it's like you got to hit like this for a month, not for 3 days. And they've shown no signs this year that they could, like they've had a couple of streaks where for a few days they score runs. They did it. Remember that series, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or so, where they played the 4-game series against the Tigers. They took 3 out of 4. They lost the last game to Skubal. But the 3 games before that, they scored a lot of runs. They've had like a week stretch or 5 days where they'll put up a bunch of runs, and then it just totally goes away. And some of that is just baseball, whatever, and some of it's that they have young players, and young players can be inconsistent. But there's got to start, some of these guys have been in the big leagues long enough where there needs to be more consistency. And that's really the whole problem with the team in general is outside of Ramirez and Kwan and, for the most part, Clase, Smith, and Gaddis, although it's happened at times this year, like those guys are consistently good. But for the rest of the team, there's so much up and down, and there's too much of that, and that's the problem. So, yeah, I think we'd all love to see this 3-game stretch where they've hit and played exciting baseball turn into a week and then 2 weeks and then a month, and then it's a totally different story. If they're still hitting a month from now, yeah, maybe they are the third wild card team or in the hunt.
So let me ask you a
back
question.
Over 500.
Like with the young guys, right? It seems like when I watch the games, the young guys are getting platooned a lot. And you talk about they need to be more consistent. Like, couldn't Stephen Vogt do them a favor by having them in a lineup more consistently than what he do? I don't know about you, but when I watch the games, it's like it's the same prospects that's always in and out of the lineup. And then we talk about, well, these is the dudes who's not producing, but they're not in a lineup to me on a regular basis to really kind of get in the rhythm.
Yeah, that's fair. I've complained about that. I hate that and right now Manzardo's away from the team, but I hate that they platooned him. But Arias has played almost every day before he got hurt here. I mean, he was playing pretty much every day. Bo Naylor's playing most of the time. Brian Rocchio, when he's been up, has played most of the time. Some of these other guys, sure, like John Kenzie and Angel Martinez and Schneemann sometimes. When they've been hot, they've been in the lineup every day. But yes, it is hard. It is definitely harder to be consistent.
I like Martinez.
When you only play in part-time.
Yeah, why did y'all hate him for a while?
I don't know that I hated him. I just didn't see anything special.
Y'all kept saying that y'all was like, y'all seen enough from him. And last year, I feel like when he first came up last year, he was hot. He was like almost.
This year when he first came up, he was hot.
Yeah,
and then he was ice cold.
They talked about him playing in center field at one point.
Yeah.
Isn't he a middle fielder?
And that's what drives me crazy about Kafis, because they move all these infielders to the outfield, but they won't let him play the outfield. I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me.
Maybe he can't play the outfield that well.
I'm sure he could if he had to. And he's played it in the minors. If he could, again, I'm just not. I want to see guys that can hit, and I don't know for sure that he can hit in the majors, of course. But right now, it's hard to complain after these last 3 days. At the moment they're hitting, let's keep sticking with it.
There's absolutely no way that if is that good in the minors that they wouldn't bring them up to the majors?
Ain't this the perfect series to bring one of them or both of them dudes up? It's been time, but like, man, you want to get the White
There's
Sox.
no way.
There's
no way. It has to be something we don't know. Like,
no, there's plenty of guys in the minors on other teams too that are playing well and don't get called up for a variety of reasons. And one of them is, the gap between AAA and the majors is as big as it's ever been. And there have been a number of rookies, to be fair to the Guardians, top prospects that have come up this year that have not played well, even though they were great in AAA. So there's no guarantees. Now, in the end, that wouldn't stop me from calling guys up because there have been some guys that have played well. But there's been a decent percentage of guys who have gotten called up to the majors who are good prospects who have not succeeded.
I don't know, man. I just don't think like you can't get ready for that next level. Like there's nothing that's gonna really like prepare you for it until you actually get out there and do it.
That's a fact.
Like
sure.
in the minor leagues, you can only do but so much, and you got to get your opportunities in the majors to show what you can do. I've heard that before too about prospects coming up and not being that good. Jackson Holiday in Baltimore.
Yeah.
When he first came up, he wasn't that good. He got sent back down, came back up. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. I just think like they keep giving us every excuse in the world, and none of them make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it is a reality that a lot of guys come up and struggle, and it is a reality that some guys get a second chance.
But
but still, it doesn't. You're right. In the end, they can't. There's nothing left for C.J. Cafis and Chase Lauder to do in the minors. They have proven they're good enough to dominate in AAA. Now you got to find out how good they are in the majors, and at the very least, get the ball rolling, get their struggles out of the way, send them back to the minors, and get back up for a second time.
But Big Christmas came back up before Chase did.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying, to your point.
Big Christmas already.
Maybe it's something that we don't know.
Wait a minute.
Because they don't care. Because they don't think of Big Christmas as a long-term part of the plan. They're happy to bring him up and down a million times.
What are they wrong?
Okay, we'll see. All right, let's leave it there. Let's switch gears to the Browns.
I got a question before we move on. If we look at the schedule, though, going here past the break, right here before the break with the White Sox, how many wins do we think we can get out of these couple teams? What are you thinking?
They could win all those series, but picking wins in baseball is silly. It's just,
We win tonight?
Yes.
I don't know.
Come on, bull.
I mean, you picking baseball games?
Come on, we win tonight.
It's a crapshoot.
Yes. Big Christmas is still up.
They should. The White Sox stink.
Big Christmas still up? He going to hit a home run tonight?
If he in the lineup.
He won't be in the lineup.
He going to smash.
I think the Guardians
Next
win.
time he in the lineup, he going to smash.
We win and we score at least
Remember
5
this.
runs.
Say this.
I hope you're right.
Say this. The next time Big
Clip
Christmas
that.
is up, he going to smash it.
Guardians win tonight, we score 5 runs.
All right. 5-2 the final. Go ahead.